Hello everyone, this is ICBS here and today we are going to be reacting to Kung Fu Panda 4 official trailer. And if you watched my channel so far, you might assume that I only talk about superhero movies, which is the case most of the times, but if you don't know, I am a big fan of Kung Fu Panda movies. Like, they are so amazing. I love them, like I can't describe that in words, especially the second movie. So before we actually, get into reacting to this trailer, and I've already watched this trailer, I just watched it like 10 minutes ago, so yeah, my thoughts are really fresh in my mind, so I'm going to be rambling a lot, so sorry about that in advance. But yeah, let's talk about the previous movies first. What do I think about the previous movies? Because obviously I've never made a video about that, so this is it. I think the first movie was really great. It was revolutionary, it had a great villain, a great storyline, obviously an amazing movie. Now the second movie, when I initially watched it as a dumb little kid, I wasn't a big fan of it. I thought the first movie was far superior, but as I watched it more and more, I was a big fan of it. Initially I didn't like the second movie because I thought that Tai Lung was a weak villain, but the more I grew up and the more I watched that movie over and over again, I realized that Tai Lung is a goddamned masterpiece of a villain. And now I love the second movie far more than I love the first movie. Not only the story of the second movie is absolutely amazing, it also has amazing visuals to go with that. Not to say that the first movie didn't have amazing visuals, it was a spectacular looking movie, but it was the second movie that was so good. Like, I can't even explain in words, maybe because English is my second language, but the second Kung Fu Panda movie is absolutely a beast, a juggernaut when it comes to storytelling and striking visuals. Like, the dynamic between Po and the villain is absolutely amazing, like how they were meant to clash with one another. I have not seen that kind of a villain versus protagonist dynamic in most movies, but the second Kung Fu Panda movie does it so well. Now it's time to talk about the third movie, and unfortunately I can't say the same things about the third movie. I know that a lot of people like the third movie, but I just can't say that I'm a big fan of the third movie. I just think that it was kind of repeating the same concept and themes of the second movie. Like, in the second movie, the big thing was that Po needed to figure out who he was as a character, like who he is. And then in the third movie, it's kind of the same question, like Po has to figure out who he is and he has to like transition into the next step, which is now he has to go from the student to the teacher, which was like funny but not really interesting to me, and I wasn't a big fan of the villain in that movie as well. If you ask me, I would say they really dropped the ball on the third movie, but again, like, a lot of people like the third movie, so I can't really take anything away from those guys. But yeah, the first two movies was just amazing, they were spectacular. The third movie, not a big fan, and now we have a fourth movie, which just makes me a bit icky. Like, do we really need another Kung Fu Panda movie? Because it just feels like the well of ideas is kind of dried up. Like, you can only make a story about a single protagonist so many times before you kind of run out of things to talk about, because in the second movie it was about figuring out who Po is as a character. In the third movie, let's just do the same thing again. So yeah, it just feels like they're using literally the same theme in this movie as well, where Po has to learn something else and figure out who he is as a character and just like go into a spiritual realm or something, be a leader of a spiritual realm or some bullshit like that. It feels like an interesting idea, but what I want to talk about is this scene. I hope I don't get copyright striked, but my channel is so small that no one even cares to strike me, so let's just play this thing. I'm just going to cut the volume so it's not disturbing you guys. So yeah, we get to see Tai Lung in this scene. Okay, yeah, from here we get to see Tai Lung, and he's like an amazing villain. I am a big fan of this guy, and we only see this guy for a brief amount of time. I assume that we are not going to see this guy much in the movie, but the way this trailer is portraying this scene, it's very icky to me. I don't like it. Like, this scene's purpose is to introduce this villain to us, right? and they want us to think that, oh my god, this villain is amazing, and the only way they can do that is by using an existing villain and making them look like a bitch in front of this guy, or this is a woman, right? So they're making this guy look like a bitch in front of this girl, and this is supposed to be a villain, and this is supposed to make her look badass, which is in most cases I think is the laziest way you can introduce your villain, is by making the new villain come up and beat up the older villain. Like, that's the laziest way you can do this thing. But yeah, I was not a big fan of this thing. Like, if you're bringing Tai Lung back, like, bring him back for the better part of the movie. Don't just use him to make your new villain look better. It's just really cheap, you know, like, you could have done something better with Tai Lung in this movie. But then again, the movie hasn't come out yet, so don't take everything that I'm saying too seriously. I'm just making assumptions here. So yeah, the new villain is a chameleon, and she can take over everyone's kung fu abilities, and you can see how she takes over Tai Lung's kung fu abilities and she can turn into him, which is great. Yeah, so great. It looks alright. It was sarcasm if you couldn't tell. So remember when I said that I was a big fan of the second Kung Fu Panda movie not 2 minutes ago? It feels like they're doing this thing again in this movie. If you watch this part of the trailer, it feels like they're doing that whole sequence of Po going to the, like, Tai Lung's continent. I don't know, like it's supposed to be China or something. But yeah, when Po goes there, it was a whole amazing like sequence. So it feels like they're doing that again because it was such an amazing sequence, and they're just doing that again. One thing, however, I don't like is the flat looking lighting. One thing that I really like Kung Fu Panda movies is because of their amazing use of lighting to light up the characters and scenes, and this looks very, you know, bland. I can't say I'm a big fan of this kind of a lighting. It kind of reminds me of the lighting from the Wish movie that Disney recently released, and that movie looked really atrocious. So yeah, one interesting thing that I noticed in this movie is that you don't really get to see a lot of Furious 5 in this movie, and you might say that, oh well, it's alright, who cares about them? I do. Man, like, one of the reasons why I liked the second movie a lot was because of the presence of Furious 5. It really made the movie amazing. So yeah, if this movie is not going to be including the Furious 5, I don't really know. Like, I feel like this movie is going to really drop the ball because of that. But then again, like, I wasn't a big fan of the third movie. I feel like I won't be a big fan of this movie. I hope this movie will surprise me. I hope this is a good movie. But yeah, like, this trailer is just not that impressive looking to me. But yeah, let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. What do you guys think about this trailer? Are you a big Kung Fu Panda fan? Are you waiting for this movie? What are your thoughts on this movie? And more importantly, what are your thoughts on the third Kung Fu Panda movie? Because it's really interesting to me, because I've seen people rate the third Kung Fu Panda movie really high on their list. So I'm really curious what you guys think about the third Kung Fu Panda movie. And yeah, this is it for me. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. And as always, it's time for a goodbye.